However, Luke was a traveling companion of Paul, and Luke writes the Gospel of Luke and then Acts. They're kind of a part one, part two. What we know based on external biblical evidence, so sources outside of the Bible itself, that Paul dies in 64 AD. And then Peter between 64 and 68 AD. And I think actually that that Luke's book of Acts is making an argument with a relationship between the connection of the apostolic brothers of Peter and Paul. According to Richard Balcom, who's a historian in the UK, he actually ascribes that Acts is written at least before 64 AD. And Acts follows Luke's gospel, and Matthew predates Luke, and Luke precedes Mark. And so therefore, it isn't ridiculous to put Matthew, I think, because Luke doesn't include Peter and Paul's death. And we know that both Peter and Paul die somewhere between 64 and 68 in the same city in Rome and are martyred. And yet the book of the book of Acts doesn't include their death, even though the argument kind of flow throughout it is to connect these individuals. So I think we can say at minimum, Acts is written before the death of Peter and Paul. So therefore, I think at the very least, given the lack of Peter and Paul's death, it's a good marker to put the synoptics pre-70. That's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And I'm certainly not alone in on that early dating either. Richard Balcom, who I mentioned, Dan Wallace, Peter J. Williams, John Dixon, F.F. Bruce, Jonathan Bernier, Michael Kruger. There are lots of scholars who do that. But I would put Mark anywhere within the realm of 40 or 50, and then the other Gospels not coming long after that, but certainly all of Matthew, Mark, and Luke before 70 AD, and getting right into kind of the first couple of decades within the early eyewitness testimony of Jesus's life.